All right, let's talk about email campaigns. Not the kind that just get sent and forgotten, but the ones that actually work. The ones that get replies, start real conversations, and ultimately drive business. We're going to build a playbook for just that.
But first, let's just get right to it. Why do most sales emails totally bomb? I mean, we've all been there, right? You're either sending emails out into the big black void, or you're on the receiving end, just hitting delete, delete, delete. Well, there's a really simple, fundamental reason this happens, and that's exactly what we're going to dig into.
And honestly, it all boils down to this one single idea. Seriously, if you get this, you get everything. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wakes up in the morning thinking, gosh, I really hope I get a sales email about AI services today. It just doesn't happen. What do they wake up thinking about? Their own headaches. My costs are through the roof. Our old systems are so slow. Why are my customers so unhappy? That is where their head is at. And that, my friends, is the key.
Okay, so before we jump into the good stuff, we got to talk about the bad. Most outreach just fails. And it's because it's the completely wrong conversation. It's all about the sender, not the person they're sending it to.
Think of it like this. You've got two paths you can take. On one side, you're basically a brick wall. You're just there. Uninvited, kind of pushy, and super easy to just walk past and ignore. But on the other side, you're an open door. You're an invitation, a potential solution. The entire game is about shifting your mindset from being that brick wall to being that open door. And here's where the rubber meets the road. Look at the actual words here. The wrong way is all we. We provide AI, we do cloud, we offer digital transformation. It's just a list of stuff. The right way, it's all about them. We help you reduce costs, modernize your systems, improve your customer experience. See the difference? It's huge. It's the classic case of selling the whole, not the drill.
Okay, so that's the what, but how do we actually do it? How do we make that shift? Well, it all starts with a little bit of homework, mapping what you sell to the actual problems your customers are trying to solve.
This right here, this is your first golden rule. You should print this out and stick it on your monitor. Every single email has to talk about their problem first, not your service, their problem. Your opening line, your subject, all of it needs to live in their world, focused on their challenges. Your service? Yeah, that's the punchline, but you can't lead with it.
This table is just a perfect example of how this translation works. Let's look at this. You're not selling app modernization. No one buys that. What you're really selling is a solution to the pain of having slow, costly, and risky old systems. You don't sell data and AI. You're fixing the problem of making bad decisions because your data's a mess. It's this translation step that's absolutely crucial. It's what makes you relevant.
All right, foundation is set. We get it. Problem first, solution second. Now, let's get super practical and start building the blueprint for our campaign. And step one is all about figuring out who we're even talking to.
The absolute bedrock, the foundation of your entire campaign, is what we call the Ideal Customer Profile, or ICP. And listen, this is not some vague, fuzzy idea of companies who might like our stuff. No way. It's a laser-focused, super specific definition that answers the only question that matters for your time and energy. Who is actually worth emailing?
And when we say specific, we mean really granular. It's not good enough to say your ICP is tech companies. Nope. It's more like US-based fintech companies between 200 and 1,000 employees that use this specific technology stack. And oh, by the way, we're only going after the VP of engineering. See how sharp that is? The more specific you get, the more tailored and relevant your message can be. It's a total game changer.
And let me be super clear about this. If you mess up your ICP, your campaign is dead on arrival. It is a fatal flaw. You're just guaranteeing yourself a ton of bounced emails and almost zero replies. You have to nail this step before you do literally anything else.
Okay, so now you know who to target. The next question is how. And here's the thing, sending one email isn't a campaign. It's a lottery ticket. You might get lucky, but you probably won't. A real professional campaign is a planned-out sequence of touches.
So here's a pretty standard but super effective 5-step sequence. Step 1, you lead with their problem. Step 2, you follow up and add some real value, maybe a case study. Then you've got a soft reminder, followed by an email with some kind of interesting insight. And finally, my personal favorite, the breakup email. It sounds kind of dramatic, but it creates a little urgency and, believe it or not, gets a ton of replies.
And you're not just blasting these out all at once. That's a huge mistake. You've got to space them out. Look at this schedule. Day 1, Day 4, Day 7. And notice it's not just email. They're mixing in a LinkedIn message. It's all about finding that sweet spot between being persistent and being a pest. A good schedule is how you do that.
Which brings us to our next big rule, and it's a big one. Consistency beats volume every single time. A smart, disciplined process aimed at a small, perfect list will absolutely destroy a spray and pray approach to a massive, generic list. It's all about quality, not quantity.
All right, your campaign is out in the wild. People are getting your emails. Now for the final, crucial piece of the puzzle, looking at the data and figuring out what it's actually telling you. It's about turning those numbers into real, actionable insights.
Think of these 3 metrics as the vital signs of your campaign. You have to be tracking them. Your open rate, that's basically your first impression. Is your subject line good enough to even get them to look? Your click rate tells you if your message is interesting, but the real money metric, the one that matters most, it's the reply rate. That's your proof that you're actually starting a real conversation.
But just tracking the numbers is the easy part. The real skill comes in when the numbers are low. What do you do then? How do you figure out where the bottleneck is? Where's the thing that's breaking?
This chart is basically a diagnostic tool for your sick campaign. If you have a low open rate, 9 times out of 10, it's a weak subject line. Simple as that. If you're getting opens but 0 replies, your message just isn't hitting home. It's not relevant. Seeing a ton of people unsubscribe, whoops, you probably got your targeting, your ICP, wrong. This little table helps you stop guessing and start fixing the actual problem.
And when you do start making fixes, please remember the #1 rule of any experiment. Change only one thing at a time. If you change the subject line, the first paragraph, and the call to action all at once, you have no clue what actually worked. It's not a real test. So, one variable at a time. That's how you really learn.
So let's wrap this all up. What's the big takeaway here? It's that successful email campaigns aren't really about sending emails, and they're definitely not about having some fancy software. They're about 3 things: truly understanding your buyer, telling stories that are actually relevant to them, and having the discipline to follow a smart, consistent process.
So I'll leave you with this one last question. A challenge, really. The next time you're about to hit send on a campaign, stop for 1 second and ask yourself, is this email about my product, or is it about my customer's problem? Because honestly, the answer to that one question is going to decide if you end up in their inbox or in their